Hi there and welcome to another Team Clueless Battle Report. We're playing a slightly different type of game today. After last weekend's tournament focus, we're going for a bit more of a narrative feel today. So today's mission involves the forces of chaos trying to free An'ggrath here. He's a greater bloodthirster. I basically have bought the model recently and want to put it on the table even if I don't get to hit people with it. So, we are attempting to free him, and we're playing a two-table game, so we have the battlefield up here surrounding An'ggrath's unmaterialised form, and we have a zone mortalis, which is representing a complex buried deep underground in which the forces of chaos are doing rituals to try and help summon An'ggrath. There is a small portal in the centre of this board as well. So, the various rules I shall go over. You'll see we have a little dice underneath An'ggrath that has a 7 on it. These are the summoning points, which we are trying to accrue if we're Chaos members like myself, or Chris and True, who are attempting to get that number down to 0. So, if that number gets to 13, I've won the game because An'ggrath is free to rape, pillage the entire world. If it goes down to 0, he has been banished back to the warp. How do you get these summoning points, though, I hear you ask? Do I hear that? See, I knew somebody would ask. So, ways to get them. So, on the top table, every unit that the Chaos player kills, he gains a summoning point to add to An'ggrath. Every unit that the enemy player, in this case we are fighting against Grey Knights and Eldar, every unit of mine that they kill, they get to take one off of An'ggrath's total. So it goes up and down a little bit there. Each side is also going to choose a warlord, and if they die, you get to add one to the total again. So it goes up and down a little bit there, but then on the small board there are other ways. So there are these 4 objectives which are to represent little points of the summoning ritual going on. And at the end of every player turn, if the good guys, as I suppose I'll call the Grey Knights and the Eldar, if they control an objective, they get to take one of An'ggrath's summoning points away. If my heroic Chaos Marines, if they control an objective at the end of one of the turns, then they get to add one to his total. As you remember, I need to get to 13, they need to get him to 0. So, that's how that bit works. There are a couple of other rules, just to make it a little more random, as they say. There are rules for transporting between this giant portal up here, which is basically this stone thing. If you get near that, or if you get near this little portal in the centre of the boards, you can transport at the start of your turn to the other board, and it counts as you're disembarking from a vehicle, so you can't assault afterwards and you can't move afterwards other than the 6 inches outside of the portal. And there is a small risk of you taking a wound when you travel through it, as you're basically travelling through the warp. Other things, on the small table, the deaths don't have quite an effect as they do on the big table, but they do have some effect. So for every model that the Chaos people down on this small table kill, they get +1 on the Demon's Warp Storm table up on the big table. Too many tables in that sentence, but I think you get what I mean. The demons have to roll on the Warp Storm table every turn, and for every model that is killed down on this small board, you get + or -1 to that table, depending on if the good guys or the bad guys killed it. Hope that makes some kind of sense. On the big table, if you are near, i.e. touching this large portal in the centre, you get to control some of the earthquakes that An'ggrath's arrival is causing onto the underground board. On the Zone Mortalis rules, there is a catastrophic damage table you roll on each turn, which is basically to represent cave-ins and various other effects like that, getting crushed by boulders, dust covering everything. And if you're in base-to-base contact with the big summoning circle up here with one of your units, then you get bonuses on that table when you roll for your units on the underground board. Okay, that was quite complicated. I hope it makes some kind of sense. We'll try and make it make sense as we go. Let's see what forces we're playing with today. So, the forces of chaos. I'm bringing 2 separate armies today, one to play on the small board, one on the big board, even though they can transport between the two. It was a good way to make the 2 forces even at the start of the game. So, for the small board, I'm bringing Chaos Space Marines. I have in my force a Huron Blackheart. He's not the normal model, he's one I've converted myself. Then we have a Chaos Terminator Lord of Khorne. He has the Axe of Blind Fury. We have 10 Chaos Space Marines, they're just armed with 2 plasma guns, no other upgrades. Then we have 2 squads of 10 cultists, one of them has auto guns, the other has a flamer. Moving back, we have 2 squads of Terminators. One of them is 5 strong and is marked by Khorne. They have a variety of power weapons and they also have an autocannon, and they're likely going to join up with the Chaos Khorne Lord. We have 3 Terminators and they are Tzeentch marked, giving them better invulnerable saves, and they've all got combi weapons, a couple of combi flamers and a combi melter. Then we have 2 Obliterators marked by Nurgle. They're always marked by Nurgle because they're so good. We have a Hellbrute there. He may look unpainted, but if I turn him around, you'll notice he has a very small amount of blue on it. I know, a little bit of green there, so he's not wholly unpainted. This is unfortunately quite an unpainted army for me. He is armed with a flamer and an autocannon. And then lastly, to fill up a few points, we have a Chaos Spawn, who is kill point bait. Over here, we have 1,750 points of Demons. We are led by a towering Bloodthirster. Not very towering when you put his model next to An'ggrath over there, but he looks quite towering if I move the camera in quite close. So he is leading a quite heavily Khorne focused force at the front here. There are 10 Fleshhounds there, and they're led by a Herald of Khorne. He has got a gift giving him a reroll invulnerable save and an AP2 weapon, which is quite nice. He also has the Locust that lets him reroll attacks in the first round of combat with his unit. I forgot the gifts the Bloodthirster rolled. I rolled awesomely. He's got Feel No Pain 4+, and an extra wound and it will not die. That's pretty sweet. Over here we have 10 Bloodletters. They got the character upgrade but nothing else. We have 16 Pink Horrors. They've got the character upgrade, and there's also a Herald of Tzich there, and he has brought with him a Grimoire of True Names. We have 20 Demonettes with a character upgrade. She's got an AP2 Aether Blade. We have 3 Nurgle Flies with a character upgrade. He's got an AP2 Aether Blade. Notice the theme. And we have 9 Screamers there. Lastly but not leastly, we have a Nurgle Mark Soul Grinder with Phlegm.
Oh, and welcome to my army. I'm playing the Grey Knights, who I've never played before, but it seemed thematically appropriate to bring Grey Knights to kick demons in the face, so let's see what happens. We're being led by Drogo, the Headless Wonder. I'm not entirely sure why he hasn't given him a head yet.
There's 2 choices of head in the pack, and I can't decide whether he should have a helmet or not.
It's basically a choice of head, and also because his head is lost in the warp. And he will be with a group of Paladins, because that's what he does, baby. We've got a Cyphelman there, and a Storm Raven. The army's a bit scattered, so I'm just going as I find it. A block of Terminators, and another unit of troops. They've got a couple of Halbards and a Stave. A Nemesis Dread Knight with a what's it called?
Silencer, or a silencer.
But it's a heavy silencer.
Yes, it's really good versus demons.
Because it wounds demons quite easy on a 4+. It's a bit crap against most other armies, but against demons it's hilarious. And a Grand Blade Stabby Nemesis Greatsword thingy. A unit of Strike Knights, who are just equipped with a Psy Cannon, otherwise they're fairly vanilla, who'll be travelling around in this Razorback, which has got Psy Bolts on it. And some Purifiers, who've got a couple of Psy Cannons, who'll be chuffing around in this Rhino to throw out some fire. It's not a huge amount of models, really, against evil demons.
They are Grey Knights, though.
But we'll see how they do.
And for the Eldar today, we have the Avatar, because we seem to be having a big demon party. Our troop choices are the cheese of the Wraithguard. Their Warlock has Enhance and a Singing Spear. And a squad of 10 Dire Avengers. Their Exarch has Bladestorm, obviously. 10 Howling Banshees. Again, I'm sorry, but 4 of them are actually armless, headless Guardians.
They will be after this battle.
That's it, they're going to get removed quickly. Why paint the models? Their Exarch has Acrobatic. We have 2 Warwalkers with 2 pairs of Scatter Lasers each, and 10 Warp Spiders, who are hopefully going to be doing the business. I've never seen them do the business before, but this could be their game. They have Surprise Assault and Withdraw.
Okay, so the demons took first turn, and I was set up along this table edge up here, and this table edge down here. It was night fighting, so basically I moved forward and shot a load of stuff and did not a lot. I used my Grimoire of True Names on my Fleshhounds, hoping to give them a nice save, and then they were going to pile forwards and try and block up Drago, who's sitting over there. Unfortunately, I rolled a 1 on the Grimoire, so these got a 6 up in vulnerable save, so they decided to hang back. The Slanesh demons have moved in front of them, giving them a bit of a cover save, and then I opened fire with my Soul Grinder and all the Pink Horrors against the Grey Knights over there. Unfortunately, due to the Grand Aegis coming off of that Dreadnought, I had -4 to my leadership check, so I only got through with 2d6 of the psychic power shots, but not bad. I got quite a lot of hits and wounds, but Chris was rolling quite well on his 2-up invulnerable, and none of them have died, even though I hit them with the Soul Grinder as well. Over here, the Bloodthirster moved forward to centre field. I'm not sure what the odds are between Dread Knight versus Bloodthirster due to the fact that he can force sword me to death, but I think it'll be fun to find out, so hopefully as long as the Dread Knight is still in the area next turn, we'll have a bit of a fisticuffs there. I infiltrated, because I took Huron as my leader, so I infiltrated the Bloodletters forwards, and I've also got my Plague Flies moving up on this flank. We rolled on the Warpstorm table, I got a double 6. Chris had a look of horror in his eyes, thinking I might randomly be able to kill Drago or some such, but I got to summon a unit instead, so I summoned some Pink Horrors, I did a daring deep strike in behind the Rhino, and managed to knock 2 hull points off of it, which is pretty good. No other deaths or anything on the upper table this turn, so the dice has not moved as yet. Moving to the lower table, I'd set up basically in a long line along here, and Trude had set up with a long line along there. The Wraithguard and the Avatar holding the centre, Warwalkers at the side, Banshees at this other side. I moved forward my Obliterators, so next time they can pop round the corner and get good lines of sight across the table. Huron and his men charged forwards over here and they assaulted the door which was guarding this last objective. We managed to kill the door with Huron's massive lightning claw, and I'm just within 3 inches there, so I'm actually scoring that one at the moment, which if I'm still there at the end of the turn will give An'ggrath the chance to be summoned slightly more. Over here the Terminators marched forward and opened fire with their autocannon, scoring 2 penetrating hits on the Warwalkers. Didn't do much damage, but the 2 hull points that were caused one of the Warwalkers to be removed, so not a bad first turn there. The Hellbrute moved into the centre, shot at some Wraithguard but failed to hit. And that was what happened turn 1.
End of the good guys turn 1. And
It's your turn, Chris.
Right, and it's going interesting. It's not too bad at the moment. So over here, the Pink Horrors obviously came out and did a couple of hull points to this Rhino. So the Rhino backed up, spewed its people out, and they started taking shots at the bugs. Killed one, and one's now got 1 wound left. So they're a bit damaged, which is nice. The Dread Knight turned, shot the Pink Horrors and then charged him. Unfortunately didn't roll fantastic. Well, actually didn't roll badly in close combat, but Mike made some very good saving throws, so they're still in there. Not for next turn, but yeah, for this one they are. Over here, the Razorback disgorged its team of Purifiers. No, not Purifiers. They're dudes. What dudes?
They are Strike Knights.
They are the Strike Knights even. The Cypherman and Drago's team all shot at the Slanesh crew, who had gone, because there was a few of them left and Drago charged in there, and realistically it wasn't going to go well. There's like 6 of them left versus Drago who charged in. Yeah, they all got cut to ribbons. Leaves us a little bit exposed in the 4 against the Pink Horrors, but only for 1 turn. Then we'll get into those dogs and start doing some damage there. The Razorback actually shot at the Pink Horrors and killed 2 of them, so they're down a power point now, so not going to generate so many charges, which is a nice effect. The death of the Slaneshites has ticked the dice down 1.
Oh yes, we need to see
However,
objectives wise. So over here, I control 1, Trude controls 1, but I'm just within 3 over there, so it goes back up to 7.
Due to objective points, he's getting it back.
An'ggrath will be summoned.
We'll deal with that next turn. Over here, unfortunately, the turn wasn't as successful. There
was a dust cloud which gave everyone -1 ballistic skill this turn down here.
Yes, indeed. So losing ballistic skill, Guardians aren't exactly known to be the best shots ever. Shot at these cultists and unfortunately did nothing. Unfortunately, even more depressingly, the Wraithguard shot at these Chaos Marines, hoping to knock them off of that, and again did nothing. It was not a great. Lots of 1s and 2s. So ultimately, on this board, nothing really happened to our team. But the Avatar's getting in closer. Howling Banshees are getting closer, so it's getting to the stage where
they're hiding.
well, they're going to chop round and start chopping people up soon. Ultimately, yeah, it wasn't the greatest of turns down here, but on the top board was actually quite good for us. And we'll see how it goes now. The Bloodthirster seems to be wussing around, worrying about who he wants to die to. We'll wait and see what happens. We'll see.
Okay, it is Demon turn 2. I shall do the little board first as it was less interesting. So, over here, my Terminators and Chaos Lord, realising they were quite far out of position, being all the way over here and the fight was all the way over there, decided to sidle on sideways. They moved over to here and the autocannon in there did another sterling job and downed another Warwalker. He's done really well. Warwalker a turn. The Chaos Cultists moved up here and are claiming this objective in the name of An'ggrath. Over here I move these other cultists sideways a bit, and along with the Hellbrute and these obliterators, we fired at the Avatar and managed to do him an entire wound. So that's not that handy. These Terminators here attempted to deep strike over in the side there. These are my Termicide unit with some combi weapons, but they shockingly scattered off the board. I rolled badly, and True has placed them there so her Avatar can use them as a kind of like springboard to assault forwards next turn, which is bad. Over here, my Chaos Spawn charged in at the ladies down here. It was a bit of a risky charge because True gets lots of attacks on me, but she does need 6s to wound. She rolled pretty badly and only got 1 wound on me, so we're locked in combat there, and I'm hopeful to at least last a couple of turns. I'm not going to kill them, but they're hopefully going to spend some time killing me. My Chaos Marines moved forward and managed to kill one of the Wraithguard with their shooting, and then managed to charge. Well, attempted a charge. They needed 3 inches, but unfortunately, True managed to overwatch me and kill one of my dudes, so I needed 4 inches then, and I rolled a 3. So they're standing in the open and about to be butchered by 10 Wraithguard shooting. That was it for the downstairs board. So, up on the top table. First thing is, I rolled on the old demonic warp table, and I rolled an 11 this time, so there was a small chance of me killing Drago outright by randomly picking him, but instead we randomly picked off a single member of this Strike Knight squad over here, because there's so many Psychers for the Grey Knights, every unit. But that wasn't so bad. He died, and I've summoned myself a Khorne Herald here, that if they survive the turn, he would join up with this Khorne unit down here. So there were these purifiers that were on this hill. I assaulted them with my 2 plague flies to absorb the overwatch, and I managed to roll really nicely on my save, so they took all the damage. And then the Bloodletters also charged in. There was a challenge where my Bloodletter champion died, but managed to kill Chris's champion. And then we had combat, and I butchered him to a man with all my power weapons. Bloodletters are still pretty good versus Space Marines. This guy managed to survive as well, so he's moved over to there. The Dreadnought managed to finish off his 3 pink horrors, the brave individual that he is, and he is moving over here to threaten them. But I did get an extra point on An'ggrath's table. At the end of my turn he is up to an 8 on there, which is quite nice. So over here we fired our Soul Grinder and all our pink horrors. Over there I was attempting to kill the Dreadnought and all the Marines there. I managed to kill all the Marines out, mainly with the Soul Grinder shooting, but the Dreadnought is still there, applying his greater Aegis to everything, which is a bit annoying. The Screamers came down, they came down back here, jetted over the Paladin unit, and I think I killed a Paladin, didn't I?
You did?
Yeah, killed a Paladin, and then I did a multi-charge. I've charged in with the Bloodthirster and all of the Khorne Dogs. This turn the Khorne Dogs got used the Grimoire, so they have a 3+ save, and their leader guy has a 3+ rerollable invulnerable save, because he got that on the greater reward table earlier in the game, so that's pretty useful. We charged in, the Grey Knights failed to hurt any of the dogs, and the leader managed to kill one of the Grey Knights, so we're up slightly there. But now we have a challenge involving the mighty Bloodthirster and Drago, and we thought we'd roll it on camera. So the Bloodthirster goes first. Drago has already used his psychic power, so he has his instant death active on his sword, which is pretty bad for me. So I get my attacks first. I'm rolling 8 attacks, and because I've got an Ether Blade, I get to re-roll 1 of them. He's only got 3 wounds left because the Screamers managed to inflict a wound on him, so I need to roll quite well here. But hey, it's cinematic. Okay, that was a good roll. I managed to get half of them underneath the centre bit there. So what have we got? We've got a cock dice there, a 2 there and a 2 there, so we can re-roll one of those and re-roll the cock dice. Okay, we've got 7 hits, Chris. Are you nervous yet, mate?
Yes.
So, I wound on 2s here. Oh dear, I rolled 2 1s. So, Chris has got 5 3+ saves here. If he fails 3 of them, Drago is toast.
That would be
Come on,
bad
Chris,
news.
you know you want to do it. Fail 3 of them. Fail 3 of them. He appears, folks, to have failed none of them.
That would be correct.
Oh dear, we could be seeing the end of the Bloodthirster here. Drago has 4 attacks back. Hitting on 4s, but re-rolling any 1s due to your preferred enemy. Let's see what we get. Okay, well he's only hit me once, but he is strength 10, and he has got a 4 sword. So you're going to wound me first, mate. I'm not rolling that just yet. Come on, roll a 1. You get to re-roll it, then you need to roll another 1. Okay, so 5 or a 6 or the Bloodthirster is toast. No!
Death to your demons!
He appears to be having trouble.
Split!
Okay, that was bad. Watch him fly away.
Drago!
Stick him back on the shelf, Chris.
Destroyer of bloodthirsters!
He's back on the shelf. Okay, that was bad. Luckily, he wasn't my general. My general is, what's his name? Huron Blackheart. So this dice goes down to a 7 now, if I can find it. Oh, 2 turns in and we haven't really moved the dice much. It went up quite a lot in my turn and then went down quite a lot. So, I need to do leadership checks and stuff for the Cornhounds now because they've lost that combat badly, but we'll do that off camera.
End of turn 2 for the Grey Knights and Eldars, and the good guys, as we like to call them, obviously. What happened down the small table? Well, the Chaos Spawn is no more. Oh, did they consolidate?
No. I shall
I'll do that in a minute.
Yeah.
There was a cave-in at the start of the turn.
There was a cave-in at the start of the turn which did nothing because cave-ins do
It
nothing.
killed 2 Dire Avengers.
It killed 2 Dire Avengers. That's equivalent to doing
Brave
nothing.
Eldar warriors you are
Yes.
fighting off.
A couple of Dire Avengers died. Is that really news to anybody?
Yes.
But yes, a couple of Dire Avengers died to that, but the rest of them have consolidated around the objective and are holding there. They killed their Chaos Spawn. They're going to move down a little bit. The Wraith Guard charged forward and shot and killed 3 more Chaos Space Marines. Fortunately, not really whittling down as much as we quite liked, but they're slowly dying. One of the worst things that happened was the Avatar failed to charge. He threw a Shining Spear, Singing Spear, Wailing Doom, speary thing, killed one of the Terminators, but unfortunately that meant his double 1 charge range didn't quite cut the mustard. So he's stuck out in the middle again, about to be taking lots of shots. Good news, these little buggers came on, teleported nicely here, shot these cultists to tiny pieces. Did they make a leadership check?
They did, they passed.
Cool. And then jumped back behind the wall, where they'll jump out and shoot things, then jump back behind the wall. And that's basically going to be their existence, is bouncing around, killing lots of stuff. So that should be fun. That's it for the big table, really. It's not changed dramatically. A few more casualties on both sides. On the big table, the Dread Knight walked up to the Bloodthirsters, shot them with his silencer, killed a good handful of them. There were 4 left, which he then
I think there was 9 totally killed this turn. Which
he chopped up 3 of them. They failed their leadership check, and the last one died to instability.
He is a bitch.
So now he's planning to eat a fly because he's a cat or something. That worked over there. The Screamers are still where they are. We killed 2 of them with combined fire from the autocannons on the Cyphermen and the heavy bolters on there. I expect the Cypherman's about to get charged by them though, which will be probably unpleasant.
Seems likely.
Drago's taken 2 more wounds in a challenge, unfortunately, with their Corn of Herald. But the Corn of Herald, of course, died
and
in revenge.
And a 3+ re-rollable save, but it wasn't quite enough.
Wasn't quite enough.
Drago.
He didn't even need to instant death weapon. It was strength 10, but he cut him down with 1 last final
weird, isn't
wound.
it? Drago's good versus Demons.
I know, Drago is surprisingly good versus Demons. The Grand Master of the Grey Knights apparently is good versus Demons. Weird, isn't it?
They put some strange rules in the game.
The Storm Raven has come on and shot at the Blind Sludge monster and put 2 hull points on him and fired a Mind Strike missile into the Pink Horrors, killing 3 of those as well. There's not many Grey Knights left on the top here, but what there is fairly tough stuff, so we'll see how that goes. But
do a quick. We're down to 5. I was up to 9 at one point during my turn.
But now there's enough casualties.
So let's see objectives. So I got this one.
Yeah, you got this one.
Chew's got that one. I got that one, and I don't think either of us have got that.
No, nobody's in that range. So that's +1.
+1.
Oh, the dice is going back up to 6.
I was quite worried that it would go quickly one way or the other, but I'm quite glad that it's hovering in the middle until a bit later in the game.
So yes, we're waiting to see whether he'll wake up or not.
Oh, we corrected the rules slightly. They only need to get to 1 to banish him because it was slightly uneven.
So we shall see how we do.
Okay, it was Demon turn 3. There was no cave-ins or anything on the small board, but on the big board the Dark Prince did intercede on my behalf, attacking Chris's units. He managed to do a wound to the Dread Knight and took out the Razorback that was over there, giving me an extra victory point there. Other things, the Rhino that was over there, I charged with my 3 Herald and the last remaining Nurgle Fly, and managed to take that out, so that was another victory point. Over here in the combat between the Fleshhounds and Drago and his remaining Paladins, I charged in with the Soul Grinder. Because Drago is in combat next to the dogs, he couldn't pile any attacks onto the Soul Grinder and the Paladins couldn't really hurt it. So he charged in, I'd cast Prescience on him from my Tzitz Herald, and he got to hit 5 times, he hit 4 times and managed to kill both Paladins with his strength 10, so that was pretty nice. It's now him versus Drago, so I don't really fancy the Soul Grinders much, but you never know. Over there, the Screamers charged in on the Dreadnought, used their Warp Jaws, managed to do it 2 hull points, and it didn't really hurt me back. I mean, it's done 1 wound to me, so that was good. And the pink horrors shooting didn't really do anything as there wasn't many targets. I'm mostly afraid of this big flying abomination up here that's got a load more Terminators in, which is pretty bad for me. Over on the small table, this table went excellently. I manoeuvred a load of stuff, including my large Terminator squad, 2 Obliterators, some Cultists and a Hellbrute, all to shoot onto the Avatar who was in the centre. I fired my Terminators, the Cultists and the autocannon from that, and I managed to do it all 3 wounds. Trude wasn't rolling very well on a save, so that was excellent. Didn't even need to fire the Obliterators there. So they turned around and plasma cannoned the Wraithguard that were there, and Huron Blackheart had split off and had joined up with the 2 remaining Tzeentch Terminators, which sprinted across there. We managed to make it to combat, and we butchered all of them basically. Lots of attacks, and they're all ignoring all their armour, and I've got quite good strength on that unit, so that was pretty good for me. This unit have moved back and are holding this objective. The Howling Banshees I don't think we'll be able to get round in one turn, luckily. The Warp Spiders are the main threat on this lower board. So I killed a couple of units this turn, so I get a couple of bonuses on my Warp Storm table next round. That's if they don't kill any of mine. Back here, the big dice, it had gone down quite a lot. It was on 5, but I managed to up it to 8 now. That's quite good, and I'm holding 3 objectives, so it could be a good turn next turn.
End of turn 3 for the Noble Warriors down here. The lower table is a little bit tricksy. In actual fact, it's damn ugly. It's not looking good for us down here, but we're managing to hold the line just about. The Dire Avengers still hold that objective. The Cultists hold that. That one's being contested by the combined forces there, and that one has been taken by the Warp Spiders, but they're not a scoring unit, so we don't own it, so it actually evens out. As you can see though, downstairs is unpleasant. There's still a Chaos Dreadnought, lots of Terminators, Obliterators, Marines, and there's a little unit of Howling Banshees, a little unit of Dire Avengers, and the Warp Spiders. Bit ugly down there. Top table's quite different. The Terminator's got out the Storm Raven and shot the Fly to death.
Which was
some jammy rolling. That was some jammy rolling, but they did it. So the Dreadnought only had one thing to contend with. He was going to charge it, but he thought, oh, I'll just shoot it, well, soften up a bit, and then wiped it out entirely as well. So those 2 went, 2 kill points to us. The Dreadnought, yeah, fighting a massive amount of Screamers did not go well for him, and he died. He took out 1 in revenge. Yeah. The Storm Talon, Raven, took about 4 of those?
4, I think.
About 4 pink horrors off of there. He was attempting to give Drago a little bit more cover of insurance. I'm not entirely sure how Drago's going to survive next round. He's only got 1 wound left. If I get jammy with my saves and Mike doesn't roll particularly well, we might be alright on that front. So the dice is down to 6 at the moment, because I did some good killing that turn. We'll
Drago
see.
in combat?
Oh, yeah, the main list is the Soul Grinder's missing us because Drago ate its face!
Lucky!
Yeah, okay, maybe I got 4 hits, 2 wounds, and that was exactly the right amount, and Mike failed both his saves. But that's not the point right now. The Soul Grinder's dead, Drago's not.
I would have had you because of that pesky Drago.
Viva la Resistance, he's done excellent work today. I think he's made his points back even.
Easily, yeah.
For the amount of cost of him, he's done very well.
He made his points back when he hit that Bloodthirster once.
Oh, well, yeah. This is true, he did kill a 300-point Bloodthirster on his Jack Todd, but that's not the point. Yeah, and so the plan is potentially to move these Terminators and Drago down to the lower board to try and reinforce the Eldar. Let's see how that goes.
If there's any left.
Okay, it is Chaos turn 4. The top board is pretty swimming with Grey Knights, but it wasn't a bad turn for me. My Screamers, who had killed a Dreadnought the previous turn, jumped over here, then leapt over Drago, using their slashing attacks to deal him a single wound, which was all I needed. So he died, and as he was the Warlord, I got 2 points onto the summoning of the Greater Demon with that. The Pink Horrors fired up at the Storm Raven. I managed to get a single glancing hit on it, so it's taken a whole point. Didn't fire at these Terminators, and they're in range to use the transport system between that pad and the other one next turn. Over here, I just was in distance to get my Terminators round the edge of this bit of terrain here to look down at the Warp Spiders. I moved over my Dreadnought as well in case I needed backup, but I charged in. True managed to deal my Chaos Lord 1 wound with her Overwatch fire, but then the Terminators proceeded to butcher the whole lot of them. Similar story at the back here. My 2 Terminators and Huron moved through, engaged the Avengers, and again, Terminators versus Eldar that aren't close combat. It's a pretty foregone conclusion, and they killed all of those. The Obliterators were over here trying to engage the Howling Banshees, which are just within 3 inches of this objective, which is slightly annoying. They need an 8 on their charge distance and rolled a 7, unfortunately, because I can't see these closer models, so failed to get in there. These cultists down here consolidated around their objective and managed to score the point. So at the end of my turn 4... Oh, I shouldn't have added that point on for that, because it's the end of your turn we do it. So I'll take it off in a sec. We're on 8 victory points.
End of turn 4 on the turns, just keep getting quicker. Up the top, there's not a huge amount going on really. The Dread Knights charge into the middle to get ready to go jump down as well, because we realise that 1 unit of Terminators is not going to survive for more than 5 seconds down there. So he's going to go down and play as well. The Storm Raven is continuing its work up here and tried its last Mind Strike and a few frags into Pink Horrors, killing a handful of them.
Yeah, I did really well on my saves. I think I rolled 5 saves out of 5.
Some really very good saves there.
But the Mind Strikes are really good.
Yeah, so we've got a bit more fire there. And the combined power of these Terminators and the Assault Cannons on here whittled down the Screamers to a more manageable number. So there's 3 left and 1 of those is only on 1 wound. Down the bottom table, there is only 1 of our units down the bottom table. The Howling Banshees shot and then charged the Obliterators, but Obliterators are redonkulously tough and nothing happened. But they did nothing in return as well, so it's pretty stagnant down here at the moment. But control of the objectives is much more in Mike's favour, so the mystical dice of death is just going up steadily now.
10, only 3 more points.
Basically, we need to pull out something remarkable. I have no idea what that will be, or we're dead. We'll see.
Okay, Chaos turn 5 on the top table. I really want to take out Storm Raven, which you can see from the picture that I did. And I was starting to put a bit of fire over there as well. So I cast up my psychic powers with my Herald over here, and unfortunately he rolled double 1 and killed himself, meaning the table went down 1 and there was no chance of me winning this turn, which was annoying. I had a small chance this turn of taking victory. So the Screamers jetted in over on the Storm Raven, and I fired at them with the remaining Pink Horrors. Between them I managed to do the last 2 hull points, and it went bang, which was good. A couple of the Screamers died to Chris's true silver armour though. These 2 are unscathed because they're going to head downstairs next turn most likely. So down here I moved into formation to receive their charge. I've got a few shots that can shoot down. Those guys over there are hiding, and I'm still on both objectives. The combat involving the Obliterators and the Howling Banshees suffered 1 wound per side, so still a drawn combat, not much interest going on. That was my turn.
End of turn 4. Welcome to the small board only. Basically what we've done is well, it could be turn 5, you could be right. We've run away from the big board because there's nothing left to be gained from it anymore. So we've come down here, the Dread Knight and the Terminators have jumped in, and the Howling Banshees are still fighting the Obliterators not terribly well, unfortunately. They're just too tough. We came in, and by combined fire of a and some Terminator Stormbolters.
Heavy
There is nobody on this objective anymore.
Bad for me.
Dear, oh dear, that objective's been cleaned out. Unfortunately, these Terminators and this Dreadnought have got a lot of enemy Terminators and an enemy Dreadnought to deal with. But it's the only thing we can do now is to try and get rid of scoring units and then see where we go from there. Fingers crossed.
Okay, it's been a long game and I've forgotten what turn it is. I think it might be Demon turn 6 now.
I think it is.
The only thing left on the top table is the Pink Horrors, who are just staying up here. But because up here, if you kill a unit, then it suffers him to gain a point. Chris and I have both sent our weaker units downstairs. So my Screamers followed Chris's units down here, and they managed to run over to here and did a couple of slashing attacks, didn't really hurt the Terminators. But both my squads of Terminators converged on Chris's squad. His sergeant with a warding staff is still locked in a combat with one of my sergeants, but the rest of my squad, because I was all armed with axes and fists, so AP2, and Chris had loads of swords and halberds, which are AP3, it was really only a one-way combat, so I butchered all of his Terminators over there. I'd moved my Lord into position to beat up the Dread Knight. I've got a demon weapon that's AP2 and strength 6 with likely up to 10 attacks. I was reasonably confident. I charged in, rolled a 1 on my demon weapon, and Chris overwatched and did me another wound, and my Chaos Lord died. Which was pretty poor, leaving the Dread Knight free to roam around.
Did you reduce the dice for him dying?
It doesn't matter down here.
No, it doesn't.
Ha-ha!
Ah, damn it.
Oh, we've forgotten to do this combat down here. I'm guessing it'll be me dealing 1 wound. You'll find out on Chris's vid.
Okay, end of our turn 6. We think we're getting a bit confused about numbers because it's been going on for 4 millennia.
I'll
but apart
find out
from
when
that,
we do the vids.
over here, they killed the last Terminator. What are the odds? And then the Dread Knight came and slaughtered the Obliterators, freeing up these guys to give a last-ditch effort to try and kill the cultists. If they can kill the cultists and wipe them off of there, then technically the ritual can't be completed. So, we shall see.
Okay, it is Demon turn 7. He had left, or they had left, a Dread Knight here and some Howling Banshees here. I had, over here, my cultists on the last objective, and up here, An'ggrath's dice is on a 12, needing one more to summon it. I opened fire with all of my cultists. I did the brave thing and moved them all forwards, so they'd be in rapid fire range, but were then happily in range of charging by the Banshees if they survived. But I did not need it. I managed to kill them all with my first volley. All the Terminators then move forward and lock up a Dread Knight, and they can't take my cultists off this objective by the end of the turn, and the game is over! An'ggrath is summoned! Roar! Or something like that. I'm sure he probably sounds a lot scarier than that.
It sucks.
So it was turn 7 in the end. It was quite a close game all the way through, really. I think a couple of turning points were down here where Trude failed her avatar's 3-inch charge.
Yeah.
And that left my Terminators free to spread out, and I killed, I think, 2 of your troop units afterwards with those Terminators. And the Avatar would have happily butchered them. So that was, I think, one of the big swingy points. And on the top table, I'm not sure which was the... What was the point you really turned on the top table, do you think? Because you were doing, I felt, better than me for a lot of it.
Well, to be fair, I probably... The killing the Storm Wraith was bad, but Draco killed the Blood.
I think you got more points out of the top table than I
think
did.
the top table wasn't actually bad for us at all. It was fine.
Yeah.
But it was inconsequential because the bottom table can do continuous points, and that's what.
Yeah, that's it. The end was I had one troop choice left at the end, and they could score.
Yeah.
And once I killed your Terminators, that was your last troop choice done.
Yes.
I think as we discussed earlier, if we did the mission again, I'd probably make it. I tried to make the 2 tables quite separate rules-wise.
Yeah.
But I think I'd probably spread it so that kill points from both tables did it, and there'd be objectives on both
That would
tables
make
as
a lot
well.
of sense because I dominate the top table fairly well.
But then
But-
nothing to do.
But you had to send your stuff downstairs in the end,
That's it.
which
'Cause the bottom table fell apart, and there was no way for me to win
yeah,
the top.
you could have got 2 more kill points from the top table,
That's
but
right.
in the end that wouldn't have done much because I was gaining 2 a turn on the bottom table because
Yes.
I'd killed all the Eldar.
So yes, I think it needs a bit more evening up on that side. But otherwise, yes, yes.
Yes, I found the random table. There was a lot of random rolling. Playing both Chaos Codexes, they have so many tables to
Yes.
roll on. Every turn, Huron was rolling for which psychic power he had, and I was rolling on a Warp Storm, and I was rolling on a Chaos Boon table, and
Yes.
then I was rolling weird cave-in tables, all kinds of stuff. But it was
Lots of randomness.
suitably epic, and he has arrived and is now pillaging the world as we speak.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This one's entirely overrated.
It is Trude's fault and Chris's fault that you are having nasty things done to you by An'ggrath. Okay, I've got other friends arriving very shortly, so end of video, I'm afraid. Watch us next time.